Yeah.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bittiker. I'm back again. We're going to cover some topics today. I've had some requests to cover a particular topic, so we're doing that. If you have a particular topic you want us to cover, do some research on, and give you some information, be happy to do that. The number is 800-326-5838. That's 800-326-5838. You can also email us at sbittiker, SBITTIKER.com, and we'll answer your questions there. I had several requests about cancer, prevention of cancer. Obviously, it's a big topic with a lot of people. I mean, if you look at the leading causes of death in America, heart attack, strokes, and cancer. And the good news about cancer is, there is some good news, is you don't have to get it. It's not inevitable. Even if somebody in your family, I have patients say everybody in their family gets cancer and they think they're going to get it too. That's not necessarily true. It is true that there is some genetic probabilities for it. If you have a lot of family members that have it, your odds are increased, but that's not a guarantee one way or the other. Even if nobody in your family has cancer, that's not a guarantee that you will not get it. But my point is this, is that a big part of cancer is environmental. I would say probably we're looking at something like 90, 95%, maybe even close to 100%. Here's why. I ran across some recent research where investigators were doing research on Egyptian mummies and other ancient finds of human remains throughout the world. Literally thousands of bodies were examined. And of course we hear the old bromide about, well, even the Egyptian mummies 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, they had cancer too. Well, a couple of them apparently did. But what the remarkable thing was how few of them did have cancer. Excuse me. And the people think that, well, that's because we live so much longer now. No, a lot of these people lived quite long lives too. In fact, there were some pharaohs that were pushing 100 when they died. So it's been around. So my point is this: the investigators, the scientists, came up with one conclusion, which is that cancer is a modern day disease. It's almost unknown in primitive cultures around the world. So those people that do not eat our diet, cancer is almost unknown among these people. Occasionally they get it, but it's very, very rare. And in ancient peoples, it was almost unknown. In fact, many you read ancient texts about healthcare back then, Hippocrates, they don't even mention cancer because it was so rare they never even saw it. So it's a modern day disease, and that's something we need to know. Well, let me give you some research here. This came off of the Canadian Medical Association's journal. They analyzed the incidence of cancer attributed to lifestyle and environmental factors. The reason we bring this up is because this is something you can do something about. This is not inevitable. You can prevent things from occurring. They analyzed for 24 factors. Some of them were passive and active smoking. I mean, if you smoke, you know that lung cancer is almost unknown among people that don't smoke, except people that live in the household with other people that do smoke. Because if you're smoking, other people in your house, they're smoking too, whether they like it or not. If you don't go outside, at least. So my point is this: is that that's something completely preventable. Also, overweight and obesity. This is something I'm going to focus on here. The findings revealed that about 41% of cancer cases in Alberta, Canada, were related to lifestyle, and I would actually think that was in Canada. I think the number's probably easily double that. But here are some of the other risk factors. They are obesity, lack of physical activity. Give an example here with lack of physical activity. Did you know that by just walking 2 hours a week, you can reduce your all-case mortality by 35%. All mortality. Heart attacks, strokes, cancer, everything goes down by 35%. If you walk about 2.5 hours a week, that's only 20 minutes a day, less than that. Just walking, not running, not anything like just walking. You can walk around inside your house, it doesn't matter. Just get up and walk. If you do that, you reduce your likelihood of developing cancer by about 25%. Just that simple thing, just something that simple. Just walk. You don't need to jog or anything like that. Inadequate fruit and vegetable intake. I do a lot of nutritional consulting for my patients, and I have them do a food diary. I have them write down what they eat for a week and also how they feel. A lot of times we run across some food allergies, and some of the diets that I see my patients on, I look at them and I say, I'm amazed that you're still alive. I mean, your diet is that bad. I mean, I have people that get up in the morning and it's a Coca-Cola and 2 cigarettes or maybe a bag of M&Ms. I know, I see that. Also have people that I come in, I do an examination, and I see that they have scurvy. Scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency. They got bleeding gums, they bruise easily, you know, they get infections, they may have a cardiomyopathy or something like that. And I analyzed their diet, and I said, you know, you consume no vitamin C source foods at all in this last week. Nothing. So you got scurvy. And you're going to the dentist and treating you for gum disease, and you think it's due to, you know, an infection. Well, it is, but the reason you got the infection is because your teeth are literally coming undone because the collagen that holds them in place is not there, because the vitamin C is what manufactures it. So we give them vitamin C, their gum disease goes away. See this a lot in people. It's scurvy. Now we're told you don't see that in America anymore. Well, I do. I see it all the time in my practice. Some other things here is vitamin D intake. Well, you can go to the vitamindcouncil.org website, and in this study, World Health Organization, we're talking big time scientists here. They did this they had a meeting up in Canada a few years back where they brought some of these papers out, and they said that if everybody in the world got enough vitamin D in their diet, which most people don't, I would say in my own practice when I do a laboratory analysis on my patients, I would say easily 85% of my patients come in vitamin D deficient. And by that I mean grossly deficient. I consider a normal vitamin D level to be around 60 or 70 on the scale. I'd say 80% of my patients are down around 30 or even below that. And 30 is the cutoff. That's subclinical vitamin D deficiency or clinical vitamin D deficiency. Did you know that in children, a vitamin D deficiency results in rickets, which is not enough calcium going in the bones to make the bones form properly? Well, what happens if you have an adult who's 60 years old, a female, and she's told she's got osteoporosis, and I look at her vitamin D and it's like darn near zero? She's got adult rickets. Or at least give her the vitamin D, and maybe it is osteoporosis from another cause, but you want to eliminate the vitamin D, so get your vitamin D checked out. Anyway, in this study, they showed across the board decrease of all cancers by about 50%. Now, you name any drug that will come anywhere near that. And that's World Health Organization, well-researched science, is that chronic vitamin D deficiencies worldwide is one of the major causes of cancer. Also, here we are in Florida, and people put on sunscreen, which stops your skin from manufacturing vitamin D. They're all worried about skin cancer. Well, you should be, you know. But remember this, is that the three major types of skin cancer, melanoma is the one you got to worry about, which doesn't correlate that closely with sun exposure. The other two do. But my point is this, is that by getting an adequate amounts of sun, not overexposure, here's the key, getting a little bit of color if you're a lighter skinned person is enough to bring your vitamin D levels up and reduce all your other types of cancer with only slightly increasing your likelihood of getting skin cancer, probably negligible. So it's actually you're gaining by getting at least a little sun. Now you go out there and go to a tanning salon or sit out on the beach and bake yourself for 12 hours. Nah, that's not what I'm talking about here. But a little bit of color is good for you. You're way ahead of the odds with that. Some other things that oral contraceptives are associated with cancer. Also, hormone therapy is. What about this? For years, I warned my female patients about hormone replacement therapy, estrogen, and they'd always give me a hard time about, well, you're not the one that experiences hot flashes and this sort of thing. And I get that. I'm not. But I'm just telling you, is your hot flashes are no fun, but what hormone replacement therapy will do to you in the form of breast cancer is far, far worse. Well, about 7 or 8 years ago, this big study came out, and all of a sudden I had all these women coming to me who wanted to do something else besides hormone replacement therapy because they'd been on it, and they were afraid because the study showed how to increase breast cancer. So, and there's a way to control all that stuff without doing any drugs at all. It's basically just a diet thing. I'll cover that here in a minute. Also, the Epstein-Barr virus is associated, which is that's one that's associated with mononucleosis, and hepatitis B and C. You can catch hepatitis B pretty much anyway. Even hepatitis C, they say has to be transmitted sexually. That's not true. I think it can be transmitted other ways. But anyway, the good news is a study came out of China. In China, they have the incidence of hepatitis C there is endemic in a certain region. There's this area there where it's separated by a river. The hepatitis C level is very high on either side of the river. The catch, though, is that one hepatitis C can turn into liver cancer. That's what you got to watch out for with hepatitis C. And these two areas had the same number of hepatitis C cases, but one area had no cancer patients, liver cancer patients from hepatitis C, and the other area had a high rate. What was the difference? They checked the soil. They found out one area had high levels of selenium in the soil. Selenium, Selenium. So I tell my patients that if you have hepatitis C, take about 200 micrograms, not milligrams, of selenium per day, and you dramatically decrease your likelihood of that turning into cancer. It won't do anything for your hepatitis C, but that's you handle by your lifestyle and things like that. But and again, I have patients that have hepatitis C that are had it for 20, 30 years and still doing just fine. So it's a manageable condition. Is my point. But you don't want it to turn into cancer. Human papillomavirus is another cause. Helicobacter pylori, the germ that lives in the stomach that causes ulcers. And that's why you take all the Prilosec and all that kind of stuff, which deactivates the stomach's defense mechanism against the bacteria. So you ensure you got to take the pill. That's why people that take these proton pump inhibitors for esophageal reflux, heartburn and stuff like that, have dramatically increased likelihood of stomach cancer because the bacteria get in there and live. Because see, if you stop the acid is what kills the germs. That's why it's there. Okay, now do you know this? That you can take a supplement called deglycerized licorice. Don't get the regular licorice, get the deglycerized licorice. It's a little lozenge. Causes your stomach to secrete the mucin, which protects it from the acid and also kills H. pylori bacteria on contact. And you also want to take a good probiotic with each meal because it competes with the H. pylori. So that's a little trick. You can dramatically decrease your likelihood of having either stomach cancer or colon cancer by just taking a probiotic with each meal and digestive enzymes. Also, radon exposure, water disinfection byproducts, which would be chlorine and fluorine. That's why I recommend you get a filter. It takes the chlorine and fluorine out. You definitely want to do that. I've just got a minute or so left here. Also, major correlation, 2012 study here in the United States, correlation between obesity and cancer. In fact, 28,000 new cases of cancer in men and 72,000 cases in women, according to the population-based study that used today body mass indexes. In other words, the obesity contributed to 28,000 cases of cancer diagnosed in men in 2012 and 72,000 cases in women. Major correlation there. Remember the website I recommend, the Primal Palate, PRIMALPALETE. This is a diet that's a ketogenic, which is a low cancer. You decrease the amount of processed meat you consume, mostly a vegetarian diet, very, very healthy. Also, remember the work done by Linus Pauling, won the Nobel Prize twice. Vitamin C, used in prevention. It's found in animals with vitamin C deficiencies can bring on cancer. We use the liposomal C, which is the most effective C you can take. Also, we use the Nutrient 950, a multivitamin. Why? Because it has the methyl donors in it. Methyl donors stop DNA damage from occurring. That's what they do. That's one of the reasons why the methyl folate, when given to mothers when they get pregnant, it decreases the incidence of neural tube defects, which are birth defects, by 80%. We've known this since 1938. Why? Because it stops the DNA mutation in the mother from causing the baby to have a birth defect. So it does this in humans too. There's a major correlation between folate consumption, the methylfolate, the methylcobalamin, and the reduction of cancer in animal studies and in human studies. And also, my son recommends this for the kids.
Your grandson.
My grandson. This is a multivitamin for kids. It tastes pretty good too. And another thing I recommend, you can read the research on thymic protein A. We give this to patients who have, for instance, undergone radiation therapy or chemotherapy or some kind of great stress. Their immune system is going to be depleted. And I get it. You have to have that to save your life. I'm not against that. I'm just saying, but what are you going to do after you're through with the therapy? And because cancers have a tendency to come back, and one of the reasons they come back is because your immune system was so depleted from the therapy, which again, I get, it had to be done. I get that. But they don't do anything to rebuild your immune system. Well, the multivitamin and adequate protein levels and the thymic protein A is how I get the patients to revive the activity of the thymus gland so that your body can defend itself against its cancer cells. You see, you create cancer cells every second of every day of your entire life. Your body has a method of getting rid of those cancer cells. If it works correctly, you don't get cancer. Okay? So, well, I guess we come to the end of our time here. If you have a question, call 800-326-5838. You can email us with a question at Bittiker, SBITTIKER. Go to our website, naturalhealthandyou.com. And also, if you like us, share us with your friends. And we'll be back Friday to cover some more topics at that time.